I am Vasil Lomachenko. You're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Congratulations to John Molina. In some ways, he pulled off a minor upset by defeating Ruslan Provodnikov. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Ruslan Provodnikov, he actually turned down a fight against Terrence Crawford, which would have been a much bigger fight, obviously. And I think Ruslan Provodnikov, he felt he would get knocked out in that fight, and that's the reason why he turned it down. And obviously, he felt him picking a much easier opponent like John Molina would damn near be a guaranteed win. He has an opponent that's not hard to hit, doesn't have unbelievable reflexes and boxing ability, and the Siberian Rocky, Ruslan Provodnikov, he still lost the fight. So that was a little bit of karma for Ruslan Provodnikov, in my opinion. John Molina, he obviously did the smart thing in the fight. He was much taller, much longer than Ruslan Provodnikov. So really all he did was he controlled Ruslan Provodnikov with the jab the entire night. He kept Ruslan Provodnikov at a range that Ruslan Provodnikov couldn't get off, because the only way Ruslan Provodnikov can even get off is if he gets close to you. And John Molina, he did a really good job of nullifying Ruslan Provodnikov's preferred range in the fight. It amazes me that Ruslan Provodnikov, he's been training with the best trainers in the sport. He's been training with Freddie Roach, now he's training with Joel Diaz, and no matter who Provodnikov trains with, he has still not figured out how to avoid a basic jab. That has never made sense to me, because Ruslan Provodnikov, for those of you guys who don't know, he has an extensive amateur pedigree. He's a very good aggressive fighter. We've seen how good he looked against Mike Alvarado. We've seen how he looked against Tim Bradley. But when it comes to long-range fighters, this man cannot figure out how to slip a jab. Now, with that all being said, I want to talk about the relevance of this fight. And the reason why I want to talk about the relevance, because I don't think there was any relevance. This fight was irrelevant to me. There was really no significance for this fight. I don't know why they made this fight the main event. I think that was an insult to boxing fans. I think the Demetrius Andrade versus Willie Nelson fight should have been the main event. In fact, the fights that were on my priority list when it comes to watching first was Lomachenko versus Roman Martinez and Demetrius Andrade versus Willie Nelson. Why? Because those fights are extremely significant. When it comes to the John Molina versus Ruslan Provodnikov fight, and this is nothing personal towards John Molina and Ruslan Provodnikov. These are great guys, right? Great warriors in the ring and all of that good stuff. But when it comes to their fight, it's not really a significant fight. It's like an exhibition. It's like a preseason football game. It really means nothing for either fighter. It doesn't matter who wins. It doesn't matter who loses. It's an exhibition fight. It's not the Super Bowl. It's not the playoffs. It was an exhibition, okay? Andrade versus Willie Nelson, that is a playoff type fight, right? The winner of that fight goes on to fight one of the Charlo brothers. Lomachenko, he dethrones Roman Gonzalez. Now you have the Orlando Salido rematch. You have the Gary Russell rematch. And the list of opponents just go on and on and on. This is not what we had with Molina versus Provodnikov. This was just for entertainment. I mean, it was like Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. fighting against Roberto Duran today on an undercard. It means nothing. It'll be entertaining, but it means nothing. Or even a celebrity boxing match. Just for pure entertainment, it means nothing. Now, it would be different if, let's say, Ruslan Provodnikov would have been in there with a Terrence Crawford or something like that. He's in there with an elite fighter. Now the fight does mean something. Let's just say if Ruslan Provodnikov was hypothetically a natural 154 pounder and he was going to fight Canelo Alvarez, then the fight would be relevant. But Molina versus Ruslan Provodnikov, a fight worth watching, but not a fight that deserves to be the main event over Demetrius Andrade versus Willie Nelson. Fights that mean something and fights that are going to lead to much bigger fights. I mean, like I said, entertainment and drama is good, but it don't mean a damn thing if it's just an exhibition and these fighters are not in the playoffs. The reason why we love watching football, basketball, baseball, and even boxing is because we love to see and find out who the best is, right? Once again, like I said earlier, when it comes to basketball, when it comes to football, they are actually building up to the finals, to the Super Bowl, towards the end of the season, right? It leads up to something. When it comes to Molina and Ruslan Provodnikov, neither one of these guys are the best. So to put them up against each other is very insignificant to me. Once again, now if you're putting Ruslan Provodnikov in there with Canelo, and let's just say Provodnikov is a natural junior middleweight, or maybe even he's a middleweight and Canelo has to move up in weight to fight him, that's different. Because now the fight is a little bit more competitive, right? You put Provodnikov in the ring with Terrence Crawford, now that's something to see. Why? Because to this day, Ruslan Provodnikov, he's never been knocked down before, right? He has a granite chin, he comes forward, he likes to fight, very durable, very strong, and he's going up against, or hypothetically, he's going up against, pound for pound, the best fighter in the division, Terrence Crawford. That's worth watching because at least you have one fighter in the bunch that is extremely relevant in the game. But when you have two fighters, neither one of them are relevant at all, going up against each other, it's not main event material. It's not. And once again, like I said, in this situation, it really didn't matter who won this fight, because neither one of these fighters are really advancing to the playoffs. Entertainment is a great thing, but what's entertainment without being the best? So because this fight was so irrelevant, it didn't matter who won the fight. Both of these fighters, Provodnikov and Molina, they're going to go on and continue collecting checks, fighting as opponents, and probably getting paid around the same. This win really changes nothing. I mean, don't get me wrong, it may slightly put Molina in a position to be thrown in there against a better name opponent, possibly. But the problem is Molina, he's already lost to the best. He's already lost to the Adrian Broners, the Lucas Matisses, etc., etc., etc. Only thing I care about tonight is who Lomachenko is facing next and who Demetrius Andrade is facing next, because it's about to go down in that division, the 154-pound division and the super featherweight division. That's all I got, guys. I'm on to the next one.